Well, good morning. Here it is, the second week of January. I hope you're not frozen yet. Gets pretty chilly this time of the year around here. It probably does where you are as well. And this week, I want to talk about a man. Actually, one of the first really biggies in the history of the Old Testament. The man who sets the stage for a lot that happens afterwards. His name, as we find it in Genesis chapter 12, is Abram. Now, later on, he gets called Abraham, but we won't go there yet. So let's look at Genesis 12, verses 1 through 3. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who curse you. All the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." And then the first part of verse 4. So Abram went as the Lord had told him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. Now let's set the stage here a second. You got this 75-year-old guy. Now, granted, early in the Old Testament, people lived longer than they do today, but he's still not a spring chicken. He's 75 years old. He's lived his life. We don't know what it is. Bible doesn't tell us. But we're pretty sure that he lived it around his family, his friends, maybe followed in his father's footsteps in what he did. Maybe he was just another one in the midst of all the others in the small village. But God speaks to him. And he says, "Abram, I'm going to do something in your life. And I want you to get up and go to another land." Well, now, in today's world, where people get up and go to great distances for a new job or a new start or education or the military or something, that wouldn't be such an unusual thing to say. Now, I know around here where I live, most people have lived here their whole lives. For them to move away, that would be difficult, particularly the older guys and ladies. But God says to Abraham, "I want you to get up and move." And here's part of the contract, if you will. You get up and move, Abram, and I'll make you into a great nation. And God says even a little more than, "I not only make you a great nation, I'll make you a blessing to all nations." Now think about that contract. Would you have taken it? Would you have gotten up and gone? Would you have just sat there? No, I don't think I want to do that. So you have this conversation between God and Abram. And I'm sure there are a lot of questions in here that aren't mentioned. There had to have been. The cost for him to do this would have been enormous. Not so much the financial cost, but the emotional cost. Family was everything in those days. And for some, it still is. For others, like myself, well, moving isn't fun, but it's not as difficult as it once was. But moving in our belief system, now that's a challenge. See, Abram, there was just something about him. Now, we're going to read some other here and find out he wasn't any saint by any stretch of imagination. He did some weird things. But yet there was something about his character that God saw. And I would say to you, there's something about your character that God sees. Every one of us, whether we're big or small, tall, fat, skinny, really intelligent, not so formal education wise, handsome, ugly, coordinated, uncoordinated, whatever we are. Maybe I touched on you somewhere in that list, and I could go on and on and on, but that's enough for this purpose. God said to Abram, I want you to get up and go. And if you'll do that, I'll make you a blessing. Well, I'll bless you, and I'll make you a blessing to all people. And it says, excuse me, it says in verse 4, so Abram went as the Lord told him to. He got up and he left his familiar life and he moved on. Well, I'm going to talk about the story of Abram over the next few days and see if I can't find something that you can identify with. But first off here, I want us to think about the attitude that Abram had. Evidently, now I'm kind of reading into this because it doesn't tell us, but the actions later seem to indicate that evidently Abram valued God's opinion. There had to have been something in Abram's heart and life that wanted to do what God wanted. And with that little nugget, history changed. If you and I will have that same little nugget, we want to do what God wants us to do, it'll change everything. Doesn't matter whether you're on top of the world right now or you're so far down in the bottom, you don't think there's any way out. It doesn't matter whether you're breezing along or you're struggling to survive. If you got that same little nugget that Abram had, I want to do what God wants me to do, then great things will follow you. It did Abram, and we'll talk about that next time. So think about it. Do you have that little nugget in your life? If you don't, why not add it? Thanks for listening. Have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow, share some more thoughts, but I just want you to know that if you have a need and we can do anything about it, just call us and we'll see what we can do as fast as we can do it. God bless you. You take care of yourself. I'll be back tomorrow.